All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Wilson, and I'm the Programming Director for Peaceful Means Sexual Violence Prevention Center. And I'll let Thalia introduce herself before we get started.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Thalia Wilson, and I'm the research coordinator for Peaceful Means.
So before we get started with our presentation, a few things that you need to know about who we are is that you're going to hear about 4 parts of our program. We have the University of Michigan, where everything is housed. And within the University of Michigan, at the School of Social Work, we have the Interpersonal Violence Research Laboratory. This is the laboratory that Dr. Kitty Edwards, who couldn't be with us here today, that is the laboratory that she directs. And in that laboratory, we have Peaceful Means. Peaceful Means is the actual sexual violence prevention center that is located in Pine Ridge, just 1 mile east of Pine Ridge. And at Peaceful Means, we use the Empower United curriculum to do prevention work with our youth here on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So those are kind of the 4 parts that you'll hear in our presentation. And so some background of why we do this work is that we know that 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 10 boys will experience sexual violence before the time that they reach high school. And 5% of Native youth have carried a gun in the last year, and 31% of Native youth were in a physical fight in the last year. And I want to highlight too that 5% may seem like a small number, but it takes 1 person with a gun to commit a tragedy. And these rates, these statistics that we see are higher than any racial and ethnic group in the United States. And what we want to do at Peaceful Means is figure out why and what are our solutions for our community. We see these issues as community members every single day of our lives even. And we always wonder like why, and we have some ideas of why that is, but what is our solution? So we'll go over a few examples of our work, including Peaceful Means. So starting from the beginning with the Empower United curriculum. So about the 70s, during the feminist movements and also the civil rights movements, there was a lot of research being done to think about empowerment, self-defense. How do we defend ourselves? How do we empower ourselves so that our safety matters? During that time period is where a lot of these skills were developed and researched. And so about the early 2000s, Lee Paiba, who is the founder and creator of the Empower United curriculum, she actually started to begin doing this work in the slums of Nairobi, Kenya. There she found that after the AIDS epidemic, there was a high rates of sexual violence happening in the community, and she wanted to do something about it. She knew about all of these skills that had been developed in the United States, and so she compiled them into a curriculum. And there she found that there was really good results with getting the sexual violence rates down. And a lot of the stuff that she did in Africa, it actually went viral. There was a lot of media around what they were doing. And they actually saw it in the Rosebud Sioux tribe. And they asked Haiti to bring that work to the Rosebud Sioux tribe. I believe they started that work in about 2018, 2019, but it quickly got shut down because of COVID, as all things did back then. And so before they even shut down the operation that was going on in Rosebud, they found that they were able to reduce sexual violence by 80%. And because of these amazing numbers that they found, they were invited to the Obala Sioux tribe, and that's how we are here today. And so our solution that we have is exactly that, our Empower United curriculum. Now, we have about, I want to say 72 hours of programming that we can offer the community at this point, and we're still developing more curriculums for specific groups. And there's a lot I can say about the curriculum, but for our kindergarten through 5th grade classes and also our middle school girls and our high school girls, we are teaching them empowerment self-defense. Now, when people think about self-defense, they think about like the hand-to-hand combat, they think about like fighting each other, because that's only about 20% of what we teach. A lot of what we teach in the basic principles and foundation of what we teach is that you are allowed to do anything, say anything, and believe anything if it helps keep you safe. And so it's not just the physical skills that we're teaching, but we're teaching youth that you have a voice, you have a mind, and you can use them to your advantage to help keep you safe, even identifying when danger is happening and how you can use the skills that we teach you to get out of that situation. And so, one story that I always think of when we're talking about the impact of what we're doing here is on my first day of training, I was sitting at the maker's space in White Clay, and we were doing our first training. And I remember Lee Pybach, who was the founder and creator of the Empower United curriculum, she pulled out this red banner and she said, on this banner is all of the different attacks that anybody could experience, ranging from irritating to life-threatening. So irritating meaning unwanted attention, unwanted conversation, testing, all the way to somebody using a knife, a bat, and a gun. And she said that on this banner are behaviors that are so normal in people's lives, especially our youth's lives, that they don't know that it shouldn't be happening. And I thought about that for a second for myself, and I thought, how many times in my life have I sat through living with people who are always aggressive, angry, yelling, doing a lot of these different things around this banner, and yet I didn't know that it shouldn't have been happening. And so that's the thing that we're trying to teach our youth in these classes. And something really special, something really amazing about Peaceful Means is that with our boys' curriculum, when you're a middle school boy, there's a lot of different messages that you receive about being a man and what that means and how you're supposed to be. A lot of those messages are how to treat women, that it's okay to use violence, when in reality it's never okay to really treat anybody with any type of aggression or violence. And so what we're trying to do with our middle school boys classes is teach them a bunch of different skills on how to do conflict resolution without resorting to violence. Really trying to flesh out like all the notions of violence that boys might be perpetrating. And then also with our high school curriculum, we're teaching boys how to do intervention safely. If you see violence in the community, how do we safely intervene so it doesn't happen again?
So when we did the Empower United in Rosebud, we found that we had an 80% reduction in sexual assault among our middle school and high school girls. And so we wanted to bring that to OSU. And so for our first year here, we had an open pilot trial, and we worked with this 3rd to 5th graders, elementary school kid, and the middle school girls and boys. And for our elementary school girl kids, we saw an increase in empowerment, knowledge of sexual abuse, and effective resistance to help-seeking strategies. And we also saw an increase in cultural pride for girls and our 3rd graders, and decrease the depression for our 3rd graders. And then for our middle school girls, we also saw an increase in confidence in resisting an attacker, knowledge of effective self-defense skills, emotional awareness and cognitive education, and career success. Now that last one was like a surprise to us because we were testing and we were seeing how that would affect the kids. But it seemed like the girls, when they came through our program, they went to stay in school. They had a more clear path of where they want to go in their lives. And that's just our middle school girls. And for our middle school boys, we saw reductions in rigidness and conformity to masculine norms, and also decreases in gender equitable attitudes. So we're seeing them not taking all the stuff that they learn in our curriculum and applying it to their lives. And then we're doing the high school now. We did the high school last year, so we're still analyzing data from that, from all the things that we want to test and survey from those. And one of the things that we do is we do session surveys at the very end. We ask the kids like what they liked about the program, what they didn't like about the program, if they had any kind of safety issues, if they had any kind of concerns about anything that was going on during that day. And we find a vast majority of the kids like the programming. They think that it empowers them, and we get a lot of good quotes from those kids when we do the surveys. These are just some of the quotes that we get, where it's because I will face my moment of truth with courage. I feel that I speak up for myself and others. I feel brave enough to be honest, and I will use my voice to if I ever feel like something is wrong. And some of my favorite ones is I learned that I am worth defending. Um, I will use what I learned to teach my children when I get older. And this is my favorite one I have is the classes taught me to love myself and others.
Lord.
So just real quickly, because I know we're running out of time. At Peaceful Means, we really try to let the community lead all that we do. We really listen to our community about what work we'll do next. And we've gotten some requests from our community to do some empowerment self-defense classes with Native women who are survivors of sexual violence, and also do empowerment self-defense classes with 2S LGBTQ plus Native youth. And then we're also going to begin doing programming with our justice-involved youth, and that includes our youth who are in JDC, diversions, and even the Juvenile Service Center in Rapid City, South Dakota. And so we have a little bit of that on here too. And one other project that we'll quickly talk about, I know we only have a couple more minutes, is the Ochante Ognaka project, or the Generosity Project. And this project is aimed at building safer and stronger, more connected Lakota communities. It's a CDC grant that's aimed at preventing gun violence. We're developing this project with the community and not for the community. It's rooted in Lakota values like Wo Chante Ognake, Mitape Oyasti, and honoring Unchimaka. And the project goals for this one is to be able to reduce gun violence and all types of violence within the community. We hope to really create safer environments for our youth in our community, and also empower youth to speak up, to be involved in all of the projects that we're going to be doing with them. They'll be really improving some of the spaces within our community, cleaning things up, making murals, doing gardens, and whatever it is that they feel like they want to do to beautify our reservation. That's going to be the project that'll be coming up. And I don't know if you understand one more thing about SEPTED, but and we'll have a couple more minutes. Yeah, so that's one of our newer projects. Right now we're in the planning phase of the crime prevention through environmental design project, but within the next year we'll begin working with youth and community members to be able to create some of these community projects that will like beautify our reservation, in hopes that it'll bring down gun violence and other forms of violence within the community as well. And if you guys have any questions for us, we have our booth over here. We have like the TOTP. Come check us out. We actually have handouts of all the different projects that we're doing if you want to learn more about us. So thank you guys.